OLTP, or the Outdoor Leadership Training Program for fall 2020 through spring 2021. All right. Here's our brief agenda. We're going to do some introductions of who we are. We're going to define OLTP, what the course is, how it came to be, what to expect from both the class and the field experiences, the certifications that you'll get out of the course, and then a quick breakdown of the fees, and kind of chat about how each of us have experienced OLTP. Welcome. All right, we're going to go around and each say our names and how we participated in OLTP, our favorite way to spend time outside, and then our names again. So I'm Rowan Stewart. I'm the coordinator for UNC Asheville's outdoor programs and campus rec. I am a UNCA alum. I graduated in 2017. I participated in OLTP, I think in 2015, in both the winter break backpacking and in spring break. My favorite way to spend time outside is whitewater kayaking. And again, my name is Rowan. Turn it over to John.
All right. My name is John. I've worked for outdoor programs for about 2.5 years. I was hired after I did OLTP, I think in fall 2017, which is crazy. My favorite way to spend time outside is also whitewater kayaking, and I learned from OLTP how to do that and made a bunch of friends who also like to do it. And my name is John. I'll turn it over to Sam.
All right, my name is Sam. I'm a senior and I've been working for outdoor programs since I was a sophomore. I did OLTP in fall of 2016. And my favorite way to spend time outside is either backpacking or climbing, depending on the day, both of which I learned from OLTP. And my name is Sam. And now I'll turn it over to Jason.
My name is Jason. I'm currently in OLTP. My favorite way to spend time outside is probably backpacking, which I also learned how to do through OLTP. And my name is Jason.
So a little bit of the history. OLTP, or Outdoor Leadership Training Program, has been around at UNCA for a long time. It started off as the newbie program, as a way for people to be trained through what outdoor programs wants in a trip leader. Then it turned into a winter break backpacking trip and spring break trips, plus CPR and WFA. Basically, throughout the years, we've been adding on more and more parts to OLTP. So then it was winter break backpacking, spring break paddling and climbing, 4 mandatory foundations classes, and advanced clinics in April. And then a couple years ago, OLTP became a course for credit under health and wellness. So now we meet on Thursday evenings every week. We do one weekend in the fall where we go on a camping trip. You get CPR and wilderness first aid certifications. We go on a fall break backpacking trip, which is way warmer than winter break used to be. Spring break is still paddling and climbing. And then in April, there are April advanced clinics where you get to pick whether you want to go paddling again or rock climbing again.
So here are the nuts and bolts of the class. It's a year-long class that will be every Thursday evening, and you're going to register for OLTP separately from your other classes because it requires an instructor ad, and more information is going to come out on that later. So whenever the information comes out, you'll want to mark this date on your calendar because there are only 20 seats and these can go ridiculously fast. I think the record time for the class to fill was about 20 minutes. Now, in addition to class on Thursdays, there are going to be several field experiences, which we'll talk about more in a bit. And these field experiences are the real meat of the class, and they also mean that there will be an extra fee in order to participate. So OLTP is primarily focused on 2 things: development in skills in outdoor recreation, namely backpacking, climbing, and paddling. And also it's focused on your own personal growth as a leader. And these 2 areas of growth are their own reward, but they'll also give you all the preparation you'll need to work in the outdoor industry. You can work for our own outdoor programs, but you'll also be a perfect candidate for summer camps, and a lot of our alumni have gone on to become professionals in the outdoors. So more specifically, what can you actually expect to get out of the class? Well, during our Thursday class period, we'll spend a lot of the class building up foundations of your knowledge on what it really means to be a leader in the outdoor industry. And then that will hopefully give you a better understanding of what the role is as an outdoor leader, which will give you an informed lens whenever you're practicing during the field experiences on being a leader. So during those Thursday classes, some of the topics that we'll cover will include leave no trace, which are the principles that our program always follows, the history of outdoor leadership, team building and leadership, risk management, planning actual trips and outdoor programming, and then camp cooking and how to use the camp stoves.
Whoa. Outcomes of participating in OLTP. So just a quick list of some of the goals that we have for students who are enrolled in the class. We want to expose everyone to multiple disciplines of outdoor activities and trips, so backpacking, rock climbing, paddling. We want everyone to walk away with improved facilitation and leadership skills, better knowledge of their individual and group dynamics, environmental responsibilities, trip planning and risk management. A lot of this will come out of the process of experiential education. So there's a lot of doing and a lot of reflecting and self-evaluation and journaling, peer evaluation and feedback. And the main goal is to connect people to peers and to connect people to the outdoors.
Cool. And the fall schedule of OLTP looks different than the spring schedule, just because you'll be meeting everyone, doing some team building, and then prepping for a couple of courses that are taught through the class. Both of these are CPR and first aid, and then wilderness and remote first aid. Both of those cost money on their own, and they're taught through and certified through the Red Cross. And that's part of the initial fee for OLTP. And they're really cool. They're going to be like 2-day classes for wilderness and remote first aid. You get to learn the basics of what wilderness and remote first aid looks like, how to properly do that in a wilderness setting. And you will also be prepping for your fall break backpacking trip and your fall break camping trip, learning the history and then just other stuff throughout all those classes during the Thursday session. There'll be a Moodle and other information and teaching topics given through that during class topics or during class time. Cool. And then for the spring session, you'll have Thursday classes again, and you'll be mostly gearing up for the spring break trips, which includes half of it being climbing and then half of it being whitewater kayaking. So it's all of spring break pretty much with a couple days on your own. And you'll also be doing some rule sessions, doing food planning and pack out, and then other informational stuff, as well as the advanced clinics after you complete your spring break.
Jason, I think your mic is muted.
Oh, sorry about that. Well, the rest of the class really involves the hands-on learning, and this is when you actually get out into the field with your classmates and your supervisors and your professor. And in the fall, this starts with simply an overnight camping trip where you get to go over some of the basic stuff that you learned and just kind of get comfortable a little bit before going on a longer backpacking trip over fall break. The fall break backpacking, you get to use a lot of the skills you've learned in the outdoors, as to where you've been learning them in a classroom. Now you're actually out in the field applying them with your classmates. It's a really great time. And then after that, you get to do a wilderness first aid course, and you walk away with an actual certification for that, which was really cool to learn. It's great to know that for your own personal activities too, if you're out with your friends, in case someone happens to get injured. And the date for that one tends to fluctuate because it just has to be coordinated. And then that's it for fall semester. In the spring, we spent a lot of the first part of the semester going over different skills for paddling and climbing and how to do these things safely. And then during your spring break, you actually go out and do them once again with your classmates, with your professors, your supervisors. And these, for me at least, these are things that felt kind of hard to break into or kind of intimidating. So it was really valuable to get to learn in a classroom about them and have people there who know what they're doing, make sure you do it safely, and are able to instruct you further in your skills. And you still are in a leadership position in this one as well, which I may have forgotten to mention. In fall break, you take a turn leading the whole group in backpacking. And you also get to do this in spring semester for paddling and climbing, but not for the sports themselves, but more so just for the trip in general. And then in April, unfortunately, our class didn't get to do this because we had to go to remote learning, but you get to do an advanced clinic in climbing or paddling. You get to see which sport you liked more during the spring break trip. And then in April, you get to pick one and learn a lot more about it. So it's really awesome stuff.
Cool. So this is a class for credit. It's a special topics in health and wellness class. You get 2 credits per semester. The coursework is primarily your presence, so being on all classes and trips and pre-trip meetings. And then a little bit less than half of the class grade is quizzes, writing topics, so couple discussion posts, and a lot of self-reflection. So reviewing the trip, reviewing how you did in your leadership, and kind of assessing and reflecting on how you're changing throughout the semester. So they're writing assignments in fall and in spring. Like we mentioned, registration is not open yet for the fall, but you require permission of the instructor to add the course. So if you're interested, email me. My email will be on the last slide of the PowerPoint. You just email me with any questions that you have and with your interest in applying for the course. And then when registration will open, I will send out a link for everyone to register. So.
Here's some of the principles that kind of outdoor rec brings to this class, and the principles of outdoor rec in general. The first being experiential learning, because you have to apply these skills outside to really feel confident with them. And that definitely comes through in the class with these field experiences, especially. And then adventure being like a tool to look inward, do some self-growth and development. And that definitely comes through in this class as well when you get to lead the 2 different groups with one of your peers and kind of have to put yourself in that role. And it's definitely an experience you can grow from. And another principle being to be outside, like that offers the best opportunity for adventure. You know, we spend a lot of our time nowadays inside in kind of like maybe familiar sort of places, but when you're outside, there's a certain magic to it. It's unfamiliar, it's natural, and it's all there. And you do get to do adventure, and you get to see that with this course. And maybe if you haven't had too much experience with that in the past, you definitely do through this. And another really important one is to show up with positivity, show up with a good attitude, show up eager to learn. And that's all important for this class in the classroom and also outside, because you're around your fellow peers, you know, your instructors, your supervisors, and especially when you're also leading a group, you have to show up with a positive attitude and kind of lift up others around you versus maybe bringing them down a bit, that sort of thing. So this is also a good experience to learn how to navigate that. And finally, like, it's supposed to be fun. You know, it's a good time. you get to bond with a lot of people, you get quality instruction, and at the end of the day, I will say too, like that definitely shined through for me. Like this is a 4 credit class, but it was always a lot of fun, and that was coming from the students, the instructors, and the supervisors. Like everyone made it fun. Like everyone recognized that was definitely a part of it.
Sweet. So there is an additional course fee of $475 that covers both semesters, so fall and spring. That covers all of the instruction that you receive from the professor, from each of your supervisors, covers all of the transportation, it covers all of the equipment that you may need, all of the food, and all of the permitting for the areas that we go out and use on our trips. To put that in a little bit of perspective here, this is a cost comparison of how much it would cost potentially to gain all of those certifications and go on those long trips somewhere else. So it could potentially total up to $1,000, and it's only $475 to take it and get 2 course credits per semester. So 4 credits total, 2 long trips, 2 short trips, and all of your food and gear that are involved in those. So, if you have any questions about how to register, you can email me. My email is rstewart1@unca.edu. Obviously, we're not in the building right now, but pretty easy to contact via email. And I'll put my email up at the end again.
Cool. And another benefit of doing OLTP is it makes you eligible to be hired by outdoor programs, which is part of campus recreation. And what it does basically is we lead trips every semester doing different activities: backpacking, whitewater kayaking, rock climbing, mountain biking. And we also run the outdoor program shop, outdoor programs office, where we rent out gear for people and do other things. And for OLTP, there are 2 rounds of hiring, one in January after the fall break, fall semester. You basically complete a checklist over winter break that will include things like your leadership, how well you thought you did, some hard skills like knots and other things that you would learn on fall break. You submit an essay, and then you have an interview with Rowan going over everything on the checklist. And then after everyone does that, there's also another one in April. Maybe you didn't get hired the first time. You can get feedback from Rowan and your supervisors on things you can improve and work on. And then after the spring semester, you can come back, do the same thing, have an essay, complete a different checklist, and do an interview, and then potentially be able to get hired again for the spring semester, which makes you eligible to work for Pre-Rendezvous in 2020. So, or whenever you are done with your year of OLTP.
Cool. Do you guys have anything else you want to add about your experience in OLTP, what it meant to you, anything like that?
I think I would like to just quickly emphasize that you shouldn't just do this. Like, if you don't want to go into outdoor recreation, this is still a really valuable experience.
Yeah, I would definitely second that. And I did this during my first year at the school. And part of the reason coming here for me was all the nature that surrounds us and all the opportunity for like outdoor recreation. And I ended up making a bunch of really awesome friends from it too, who, all share that kind of similar interest, while also getting to learn a lot more about the skills and the leadership that goes into that sort of stuff. So I really enjoyed it a lot. I would definitely recommend it.
And if
Yeah.
you're like what I was when I was a freshman and have never been in a leadership position and had only ever been backpacking once during pre-rendezvous, this is a perfect way to learn both of those things.
Yeah, OLTP was a huge confidence boost for me. And I went in with no intention of getting hired with outdoor programs. And here I am many years later, and it's one of the biggest parts of my college experience. So I definitely recommend it. It's really, really awesome and super fun.
Well, thank you guys for that. So if you have any questions, you can find more information up on the website, recreation.unca.edu/outdoor leadership training program, or look up UNCA OLTP online. You can email me at rstewart1@unca.edu, and I'll answer any questions that you might have, share any additional information, and send out information about registration when it opens.